This is a one mark question asked in GATE 2019 of electronics. This is from signal subjects and from classification of signal topic. The given question is, consider the signal f of t, which expression is given where t is in second. Its fundamental time period e in second is dash. So this is the signal f of t is given and we are supposed to find its fundamental period. Okay. So you can see this is a signal where we have sinusoid of different frequencies, and in such cases individually all sinusoids are periodic, but their combination may or may not be periodic. But in this case they have asked the period, means it is by default periodic, so you don't have to check the conditions. In case if you want to check the conditions, what you can do is you can find the individual periods and then you check all these ratio T1 to T2, T1 to T3, T1 to T4, all these. If all these ratio are coming ratio of two integer, then this overall signal f of t is periodic in nature. So what is T1? T1 is this period, T2 is this period, T3 is this period. So you find the period of them and take the ratio. So all these ratios should be coming in the form of ratio of two integer. If that is satisfying, then f of t is compulsorily a periodic signal, and this one I am not considering because addition of DC, it overall shift the signal amplitudes by 1, so it doesn't have any role to play in the period of the frequencies. So this is the conditions, and in this case it is definitely satisfying. You can check it out. And if that is the case, then the fundamental frequency omega naught is given by HCF of, okay, numerator of the frequency divided by denominator of the frequency. In other words, if omega happening to be, okay, so this is numerator and this is denominators. So in the omega naught is of the overall signal will be HCF of numerator of the frequencies. So this frequency is pi, this frequency is 2 pi by 3 and this frequency is pi by 2. So here HCF of numerator and LCM of denominator. So here your HCF of numerator of the frequency. So this is pi by 1 you can think of, this is pi. And the numerator of this frequency is 2 pi. So this is 2 pi and here this is pi divided by LCM of denominator of the frequency. So this is pi by 1 you can think. So this is 1 and this is 3 and this is 2, right? So if you find the HCF of the numerator, that is happening to be pi and this is happening to be 6, right? So this is what your fundamental frequency omega naught is. But we are not supposed to find fundamental frequency. We are supposed to find the fundamental period. So what is omega naught? Omega naught is 2 pi by t. 2 pi by t equals to pi by 6. Pi cancel out. So here t is coming as 12 seconds. So t is equals to 12 seconds and that's the fundamental period. So this is again a very straightforward and simple questions. So just by knowing this logic, we can come to the answer within 20-30 seconds. So the answer is 12 seconds for this. This is a one mark question asked in GATE 2019 of electronics. This is from signal subjects and from jet transform topic. The given question is, let h of z be the jet transform of a real valued discrete time signal h of n. If pz is h of z into h of 1 by z, has a 0 at z equals to half plus half j, and pz has a total 4 0, which one of the following plot represent all zeros correctly, right? So we are given with the informations like h of n is real valued signal and a function pz is h of z into h of 1 by z, and if this function pz having 0 located at these locations and the pz having 4 zeros, so what are all the 4 zeros? And if you see the options 4 0 having plotted in the z plane, so once we know all the zeros, we can plot them also in z plane, that's not a big deal. Now the point is this, so before I proceed, so I will be giving you some observation here. Suppose if I say I have a function h of z, so let's say this is z minus z1 into z minus z2, okay, and let's say this is z minus p1 and this is z minus p2 and this is z minus p3. So if I ask you what are the zeros of this function h of z, so if you equate the numerator to 0, so you get the zeros are z1 and z2. So this is the zero of hz. Now if I ask you what is h of 1 by z functions, so wherever z is there, we will be replacing that by 1 by z, right? Wherever z is there, I am replacing it by 1 by z. So this is 1 by z minus z1, it is 1 by z minus z2, this is 1 by z minus p1, 1 by z minus p2 and 1 by z minus P3. Now in this case, if I ask you to calculate the zeros, again we'll be equating the numerator to 0. So what are the things you'll get? 1 by z minus z1 equal to 0. 1 by z equals to z1. So z is nothing but equals to 1 by z1. So the zeros are 1 by z1. Similarly, if you do this, you'll be getting this 1 by z2. Isn't it? Now, if I say I have another function pz, which is the product of h of z with h of 1 by z, okay, if I am multiplying them, and now if I ask you what is the zeros of these period functions, it makes sense. If you do multiplication of this function with these functions, then what are the zeros? The zeros of these functions are nothing but zeros of h of z as well as zeros of h of 1 by z. Is that correct or not? If you write this together, so you will be having this factor as well as this factor in the numerator. For these period functions, if you multiply both of them, so in the numerator you will have 4 factors, this, and denominator will have 6 factors. So the roots of the numerator will be, again you will be getting z1, z2 correspond to these two terms, and correspond to these two terms you will be getting 1 by z1 and 1 by z2. So it makes sense. If pz equal to h of z and h of 1 by h of 1 by z, then if somebody asks me what are the zeros of this p of z, so the zeros of p of z will be nothing but your z1, z2, 1 by z1, 1 by z2, and so on and so forth. So z1, z2 are zeros of this h of z, and 1 by z1, 1 by z2 are zeros of this h of 1 by z. So that point should be clear, right? Now one more point which will be useful for us, that here this location z is given by half plus j half. This is rectangular notations. In polar coordinate, we can write this as 1 by root 2 angle 45 degrees. If you expand this, 1 by root 2 into cos 45 is 1 by 2, plus again 1 by root 2 into sin 45 also 1 by 2. So this is the polar notation, this is rectangular notations. We will be dealing with polar notation. This is handy, more handy to use rather than the rectangular notation, the z plane. Okay. Now the point is this. So what is being said is, let's say I am denoting this by z1. So z1 is nothing but equals to half plus j half, right? So this I am getting this from where? So this I am getting from where? Whether from h of z or h of 1 by z, we don't know. If z1 exists, then it makes sense 1 by z1 should also exist. Because if I assume that z1 belongs to h of z, then 1 by z1 should be definitely from h of 1 by z, or vice versa. If I assume this z1 is from here, then 1 by z1 will be from here. So that is based on the same concepts. So this is 1 by z1 should also exist. So I am calling this is z2. So z2 is equals to 1 by z1. This will also compulsorily exist. So this we are telling it is 1 by root 2 angle 45. And if I ask you what is this, so it is 1 by root 2 angle 45. If you find it out, so this is coming root 2 angle minus 45 degrees. So these are two zeros we got, z1 and z2. And I believe we also know, like if h of n is real valued, and if you are getting its poles or zeros, if they are complex in nature, they will happen in conjugate pairs. It will never happen like you have only one zero which is half plus j by 2. If somebody is telling that h of n is real valued and somebody is telling that this is one of the zero, compulsorily its conjugate will also be a zero. So if I am saying z1 is this much, so its corresponding conjugate will be half minus j by 2. You know very well, because the complex conjugate pairs are nothing but the roots of a quadratic equations. It will never happen like you are getting only one single independent complex pole like this. For real case that is valid, but for complex case you will be getting in conjugate pairs. So it makes sense that if z1 is one of the zeros of this, z1 conjugate is also one of the zeros of this. So z1 conjugate is 1 by root 2 angle 45 conjugate. So if you take conjugate of it, so this become 1 by root 2 angle minus 45 degrees. Similarly, if z1 conjugate is one of the zero, so again 1 by z1 conjugate is also one of the zero. So it is 1 by root 2 angle 45 conjugate of this. So this is how much you'll get. So this will get root 2 angle 45 degrees. So this is anyway here the minus 45. If you take to numerator, so that will be again plus 45. Here if you take conjugate, it is minus 45. In numerator there will be plus 45. So these are the four zeros. So let me tell once again what happened. So this 0 was given, and we have said if Z1 is one of the 0, 1 by Z1 is also one of the 0. So if this is Z1, 1 by Z1 is this one. So we got two zeros. And we also know like the zeros happens if it is complex, it is conjugate pair. So if Z1 is one of the 0, then Z1 conjugate is must also one of the 0. And if Z1 conjugate is this, and again based on the property, if Z1 conjugate is one of the zeros, then 1 by Z1 conjugate is also one of the 0, right? So this is what I am trying to tell you. So basically this Z1 and this one, so they will be happening in complex conjugate pair, this and this. Similarly this and this are complex conjugate pair. Okay, so now if you plot them in a complex plane, how does they look like? So you take a circle like this is the unit circle, and here let's say this is being 2, right? So where this will come, 1 by root 2 angle 45 degrees. So everything is coming in the 45 minus 45. So let us draw two line of 45 minus 45 for our own reference. 1 by root 2 is 0.707, right? 0.707 angle 45. So this will be in this line because this angle is 45 by assuming, but the length should be 1 by root 2. So it is 0.707. If this length is 1, then 0.707 will be coming here. So this is the location of Z1, this one. Now where does this Z2 will come? This Z2 will come on root 2 angle minus 45. Root 2 is more than 1, isn't it? 1.1 is more than 1 and angle minus 45. If this angle is for 45 degree line, so this is the minus 45 degree line. So this will come on this line. And how much magnitude? Root 2. So it is more than 1. So it will be coming somewhere here. So this is the 0 locations which I am calling this as Z2. Okay, but note carefully that this is less than 2 because root 2 is obviously less than 2. So I have plotted Z1 and Z2. Where does this Z1 conjugate, or this is, let's say it is Z3. So let's call this is Z3. So Z3 equal Z1 conjugate. So this will be 1 by root 2 angle minus 45. Okay. So again in minus 45, but its magnitude is 1 by root 2. So again the same length. So you will be getting somewhere here. So this will be nothing but your Z3, which is this 0. And finally, let's call this is Z4, right? So this is coming root 2 angle 45. So angle is 45, but magnitude is root 2. So it will be coming, somewhere here. So this length should be equal to this length. So this is what it's corresponding. All 4 zeros will be located like this. I'm just erasing these lines. Okay. So if you see, this is given in one of the options. Note carefully that this is less than 2, right? And if you see this carefully, okay. So this Z1 and Z3 are complex conjugate pair, and this Z2 and Z4, this is also complex conjugate pair. So that's what I said. Z1 and Z3 are complex conjugate pair, Z2, Z4 are complex conjugate pair. So this is the right answer. This is given in one of the options. So once again, to summarize, what I did in this case is, this was the 0 given. If Z1 exists, then 1 by Z1 will definitely exist, right? Based on that logic, because this is product of h of z, h of 1 by z. If z1 is one of the 0, then 1 by z1 is also one of the 0. And here z1 is complex 0, so its conjugate should also must exist. And again z2 is also complex 0, so its conjugate should also definitely exist, right? So, you have 1 by z1 conjugate and you have z1 conjugates. So I am getting this, and if I am plotting this, so this is what the plot is looking like. And this is the right answer, right? So because I have explained these questions with a lot of background concepts, so I take around 10 minutes of time. But if you solve a proper flow, then I think this is hardly a 1 minute job.